record, my foot is very, very slightly on the gas, but this is what my BMW 540i is doing to me. And the throttle valve position's moving around there a little bit, but I wonder if it's just because of the way the engine's running, the vacuum pulling back on the blade. But it's strange that it comes back up to this 2.35%, because everything seems to get better once I exceed that 2.35%. If I hold on 275, it stays steady. As soon as I come down here in this low range, just barely touching the throttle. This is what I've got happening. So, is the throttle body bad? Is there a wire bed in that fuel pedal? Or do I just simply have a vacuum leak? Or is it worst case scenario and it's out of time? What's up, guys? This poor old car has just been having a hard go. I actually hit 2 deer on 2 separate occasions with it last season. We had one hit this side, dented my fender, busted my M5 bumper all up. Amazingly, those depot headlights survived it. And I mean, that deer hit hard to split that bumper in the front like this. So it's a little bit ugly right now. We got a dent in this fender. The other deer, of course, had to go down this side of the car. This car's got a lot of miles onto it, so I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna spend the money on fixing all this stuff back up. I might just keep driving it the way it is and say the heck with it. But I've got this issue, and this car's had this issue since I bought it. I bought it, it had 180 or 160 some thousand onto it, and I've got 260 some thousand on it now. So this car has been acting like this for 100,000 kilometers. I've got a brand new throttle body that I bought from ECS Tuning, the bigger one. I believe it's 84 millimeter with the blade. You know, I've checked all my basics. I had the passenger floor apart and fixed all that wiring mess ages ago, and it just doesn't seem like I can get anywhere with this surging issue that this car is having and this low end stumble that it has. So what's going on is I've got this new launch scanner that has actually already helped me get some things figured out, but if I go into my engine control module, there's no codes here that's really relevant to what's going on. I mean, I've got an exhaust system on the car, so I've got a DME, DMTL heating. I got secondary air system, bank 1 and bank 2, signal after catalytic converters because the second O2 sensors are not hooked up. I spoke to a very reputable shop, ISI Automotive. They tell me that none of those codes is really anything to worry about or nothing that should be causing any drivability issues. Now, I don't know why it's deciding to idle a little high for some reason. Let's see if we can trick it here. Usually it'll idle right on 400. It usually doesn't do this high idle thing. It's probably not warmed up enough yet. But the only thing that really caught my eye so far with this new scanner is if I go under special function and try to do a VANOS test on this car, it wants to see a coolant temperature of at least 80 degrees Celsius. Now, I don't know if it's relevant or not, but right now I'm not seeing those temperatures. As you can see, my gauge is quite low, and it's not coming up to a steady 80 degrees Celsius to do the VANOS test. But again, I don't know if it's relevant or not. So what we have is, this is all in Fahrenheit, which I'm not sure how that got in Fahrenheit because it should be in Celsius. There we go. So I'm only running at 63. I can't actually get this car to come up to 80 to do the VANOS test, which I'll show you. When you go to VANOS system check, it says start engine up, leave engine run until coolant temperature exceeds 80 degrees Celsius. So literally that's the only thing that's kind of throwing a red light at me. The motor is pretty quiet, I think. If there's any noise at all, it does seem like it would be more so on the passenger side. When I take my oil cap off, there's no crazy amount of vent pressure there, right? So that tells me that my crankcase ventilation is working properly. And I know there's a lot of write-ups on this particular setup doing what it's doing, the engine surgeon and all that good stuff. So the only actual thing I read that somebody said they totally 100% fixed the problem was they had to pull all their timing gear apart and do the timing chains and the timing chain guides. I really don't want to get into that kind of mess with this. I was, more or less hoping it was going to be a failed sensor or something along those lines. But it just doesn't want to let me get to the bottom of it. So this is with my foot just barely on the gas pedal, eh? And again, I'm holding it steady. I've even checked with the creator and watched the live data when I do this to make sure that, you know, the pedal is giving a steady output. It is. And as soon as you bring it up over 1,000, it doesn't do it. It's only that first little bit. So if any of you guys could help me out with this, it'd be muchly appreciated. Shoot me in some sort of direction that hopefully isn't inside the engine. Alright, so this is an interesting little tidbit. You see what my car's doing, and I'm holding steady throttle. And I thought I was getting a steady signal. But look at this. My throttle position is going from 1.9% to 2.35. No way I can get it to hold steady down low. As soon as I bring it up, I can make it sit there in 2.75 all day. It doesn't move. As soon as I bring that down below 2.35, I'm holding the throttle steady, but the throttle valve position is moving. So I wonder maybe if there isn't something wrong with that throttle body that I bought from Turner. I would assume that that should be at 0% when it's idling, and it's at 1.57. I'm just going to open this up here and have a little look-see. See if it feels like there's any play in that blade at all, even though it's only 1%. Alright, so this is kind of interesting. When I just put a little bit of light pressure on this, feels like there is some slap in the first little bit of it opening there, because the blade's moving, but it doesn't look like the shaft is turning. Here, like click a click a click a click a click. I'm gonna grab my other throttle body out of the basement and see if it has that much play in it too. Well, ladies, this is a good one. I took that brand new 84mm throttle body that I got from Turner Motorsports, and I put my old stalker back on, and look at this. I actually can't believe it. So the first thing I noticed was, right off the bat, this one's showing me a little bit lower number. It's at 1.18% instead of always 1.57. So it's still idling a little bit high, and I think that's mostly because of my temperature issue with the car not getting up to temperature. But watch this. I'm going to lightly step on the gas now. And look at that. I mean, it's going up and down a tiny, tiny, tiny bit, but it's nothing like it was. But I'm noticing this here is showing better consistent numbers. And the motor, you can control it now in the low RPMs. Now the initial stab, I don't think is going to be a whole lot better, but once I get this out for a drive and actually feel it, then I'll fully know. But according to the scanner and according to what it's doing here in my yard, I'll just barely touch it again. yeah, it's not rev hunting near as much now. So as much as a feller hates to you know, take a $400 performance throttle body and fire it in here in the building for safekeeping, you guys seen the play that was into it when I first took it apart, so I'll let you decide. But it seems to me like the car's acting a lot better now.